of, of the UK Research and Innovation for funding this regionally important project. The SANH project involves 40 institutions all over South Asia and the UK and is led by the UK Centre for Ecology and Hydrology. The core vision of the hub is to establish a pioneering UK South Asia research partnership that will catalyze transformational change where South Asia becomes a world leader in advocating a sustainable approach to nitrogen management. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, committed with such a noble task, the SANH team has now reached a milestone moment for members to share research findings and ideas and deliberate ways forward under the various work packages of the project. This is the purpose of the meeting series we are starting today. Project members, thank you for tasking MNU with this immense responsibility for hosting this full meeting series. I assure you, we are committed to providing you all an exceptional experience during this time. Hosting an event of this nature and being part of such an important project stands to provide valuable lessons to us as MNU and to the Maldives. At MNU, we are learning so much from this SANH project, not only from the content and the research itself, but from the regional cooperations, organizations, negotiations, and from the collaborative research process as well. These are valuable knowledge we will impart to our stakeholders, especially to the students via our formal and informal curricula. I am confident that through this series of meetings, we will participate in exceptional discourse that will assist us in producing projects' intended deliverables. I am certain that such productive conversations will pave the way for future partnerships, interesting engagements, and commitments that will contribute to the national, regional, international dialogues on how to address the wicked problems of this world. Let me conclude by extending a warm welcome to Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and attendees of SANH meeting series. May the Almighty Allah bless our efforts, reward our partnerships, and broaden our knowledge horizon so that we may all leave our children a world that is greener, cleaner, and more prosperous. Amen. Thank you, and wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. I now would like to request the Director General of SACEP, Dr. Rahman, to give his remarks. Dr. Rahman.
His Excellency Honorable Faisal Nasim, Vice President of Maldives, Honorable Mohammad Sharif, Vice Chancellor, the Maldives National University, Ministers and State Ministers of Republic of Maldives, Excellencies, High Commissioner and Ambassadors of different countries, South Asian Nitrogen Hub's Director, Professor Mark Sutton, as well as distinguished delegates, participants from South Asian countries who are also the member states of South Asia Cooperative Environment Program. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and assalamu alaikum. Actually, it's my pleasure to be here at this distinguished gathering to address the annual meeting of UKRI GCRF South Asian Nitrogen Hub, which is a great opportunity for us meet all distinguished invitees coming up from SACEP member states, UKRI and South Asian Nitrogen Hub. In a global context, South Asia is one of the hotspots for nitrogen pollution. Regionally, the sources of nitrogen pollution are mainly direct and indirect emission from soils, combustion for electricity and heat, transportation, and industries. As most of us are aware, nitrogen is a double-edged sword. The element is a key component in fertilizers and helps fuel the growth of essential crops. But too much nitrogen can pollute the air, decimate soils, and creates lifeless dead zone in the ocean. So we need to be very careful about the impact of nitrogen challenges on the achievement of sustainable development goals, because whether it's land, food security, biodiversity, pollution, and water quality, nitrogen impact each and every one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, we also know that the impact of pollution from nitrogen do not stop at national borders. It has contributed to severe environmental and public health pressure in South Asia. That's why the best way to address the challenges of nitrogen pollution is through much for their enhanced regional cooperation and coordination is very important. Today, SACEP is very happy as South Asian countries have been among the earliest to have taken the initiative in addressing nitrogen pollution. We are here today to mark one of the milestones of this journey to address the nitrogen in globally as well as in South Asia. In last June this year, SACEP and SANH together launched two major collaboration output. One is a regional policy report, nitrogen pollution in South Asia, scientific evidence, current initiatives and policy landscape, and also the Bangladesh Nitrogen Policy Report, scientific evidence, current initiatives and policy landscape. This marked a historic moment for South Asia Cooperative to develop an evidence-based policy approach to tackle nitrogen. Our member states, India and Pakistan, they have already developed their nitrogen policy. Dear participant, it has been proved that there must be an intelligible linkage between scientists and policymakers. This is very important to find pragmatic solution to nitrogen challenges in relation to environmental pollution, food security, and climate change. As we embark on it, we must remember what kind of South Asia we are fighting for. A region with clean air to breathe and clean water to drink. A region where climate change no longer poses an existent threat, where life in our ocean is no longer starved of oxygen. This is the world what we want. And it is world actually what we deserve for our future generation as well. SACEP as a pioneer regional organization has been pursuing effort to establish a regional framework policy on nitrogen management, which will support national effort and facilitate collective regional action on sustainable nitrogen management. Finally, I'd like to request you all, please come and let us put our hand together to address this nitrogen, which is a hidden enemy. Actually, you know, it's like a dilemma. Nitrogen management, that's why we use this term. Today, this program is, I should say, unique, as Honorable Vice President is present here as a chief guest. And Maldives' commitment is regarding tackling the nitrogen management with collaboration with South Asia Nitrogen Hub and SACEP, who are working on these. So from this full meeting, South Asia is expecting a commitment. South Asia is expecting our common and coordinative commitment to the all over the world. We'd like to see that one South Asia voice. Nitrogen is our, you know, such a thing. We need to manage it to keep our environment safe. So thank you very much again for your patient hearing. Thank you, Excellency.
Thank you, Dr. Rahman. I now invite the Director of the South Asian Nitrogen Hub, Professor Mark Sutton, to give an overview of the South Asian Nitrogen Hub. Professor Mark Sutton.
Mr. Vice President, Excellencies, Honourable Ministers, colleagues, it's really a great pleasure to be back here in the Maldives again. This is my 4th time of visiting. I find I learn something new every time, and it's such a joy to come here with all our colleagues from the South Asian Nitrogen Hub together. I think something like 130 delegates coming to the Maldives and another 70 or so online to discuss this massive challenge we've just been hearing about. We say that nitrogen is everywhere and invisible. Why do we say that? Firstly, because the air we breathe is nitrogen. 78% is nitrogen. But it's not doing anything. It's making the sky blue. That's nice. Stability. But once we convert that nitrogen in the air into different nitrogen compounds like ammonia and nitrate, it becomes fertilizer for food, but it also becomes pollution for our wider environment. And that's our challenge to address in this South Asian Nitrogen Hub, for which we're very grateful for the UK government for sponsoring through the UK Research and Innovation. So if I press the button and try the next slide, that's it. If we look at this challenge together, we see that nitrogen is linking air quality issues, it's linking climate issues, water quality, soil biodiversity, and food as well. So when we say it's everywhere and invisible, it's because it's in all those issues at the same time, and yet how often do we think that nitrogen is connecting them all? This fragmentation we've talked about, why have we made no progress? Because we often think of air quality and water quality as separate. And we're saying, through the nitrogen cycle, if we bring them all together and manage nitrogen better, we can have cleaner air, cleaner water, better biodiversity at the same time. We will not fix all of the climate problem by nitrogen. Carbon is there at the heart, no question. But we need also to be taking action on nitrous oxide, that long-lived greenhouse gas. And then the impacts. We all know about coral bleaching, for example, but as has already been said, with that nitrogen pollution, that can slow the recovery after a bleaching event, with biodiversity loss risks and algal encroachment. So I was on the beach here. When I come to the Maldives, I always make sure I should go in the water. It is required. But seeing some of the broken coral with the green algae on it, I'm not convinced, and this is where our experts will tell us, what would we be seeing in a pristine situation? We should be seeing different. And of course, that's of impact for the tourists coming here, the quality of the biodiversity they can enjoy. So in the hub, we are looking at about bringing people together, bringing scientists, policymakers, actors together to learn together about nitrogen. As has been said, we're looking at empowering South Asia to become a global leader on nitrogen, leading already in the United Nations and working together across South Asia. Just show a few of these products of policy briefs coming out, of meetings coming together, meeting recently in Sri Lanka, bringing across ministries together like this one, and in Bangladesh. But also going to the United Nations. In 2017, I came here for my first visit to the Maldives with SACEP, and we worked together and came up with a draft resolution for the United Nations Environment Assembly. That subsequently went to SACEP Governing Council, and then was agreed that India would take the lead on that resolution, which was then adopted in 2019. Later, we came together in Colombo for the Colombo Declaration to launch the United Nations Global Campaign on Sustainable Nitrogen Management. It had never been done before. We're saying the United Nations needs to put nitrogen up there, the top issues. Agreed on United Nations Day 2019, the Colombo Declaration. That then went to a new resolution adopted this spring in the 5th United Nations Environment Assembly on Sustainable Nitrogen Management. Now, some will say, what difference will that resolution make? And I will say, first of all, it will be awareness raising for all the countries in the world, agreed by 192 countries, that nitrogen is something we need to be taking action on, and is not only a problem, but is really an opportunity for us, as I'll show about the value of nitrogen for multiple issues. To say something else about the kind of work we're doing in the hub, agronomy trials, genetics trials, looking at how can we grow plants more efficiently with less fertilizer, less inputs to get more output. And that means we need all the tricks available across South Asia, learning together with all 8 countries of South Asia engaged. I'm going to give you one graph only, folks. This is a scientific conference, so if you don't like the graph, never mind, but I like it. The top graph is about crop yield. How well are the crops growing? The left-hand bar is what happens when you don't put nitrogen on. You don't get much yield. Put nitrogen on, yield goes up. That's why we're using it. And RD is recommended dose. A bit too much more nitrogen, the yield doesn't really increase because we don't need more. Not enough nitrogen will go down, so they're all performing differently. The one bar I like to draw your attention to is the one on the right, USG. USG is urea supergranules, and thanks to our colleagues in Bangladesh for leading this work area. Instead of scattering the fertilizer over the surface, they plant the fertilizer like a seed deep into the soil between each of the plants. It means the plant roots can get better access. It's below the surface, so it's not emitting to the air, but it also not only has benefits for reducing air pollution, but also water pollution. Go back. We can go back one. There we are, thank you. This bottom graph is nitrate leaching. That's nitrogen going into water pollution. Again, no nitrogen means it's very clean, but the crop isn't growing. On the right-hand side, you see the lowest bar is this urea supergranules. So the crop is growing, the food is produced, but much less pollution. And that's just one of many different measures that we're exploring in the hub going forward. We're also working at the village scale about acceptability of issues. So, well, if the scientists say it's lovely, but what do the villagers think? Do they like it or not like it? So it becomes a discussion with everybody learning. And there's something like 12 or so villages we're working with in detail again across the whole of South Asia to look at acceptability of issues, exploring together about better manure management. Have the next, there we are. When it comes to impact, we've already mentioned about the coral as a key issue for South Asia, but go into the north of South Asia, the forests are a key biodiversity hotspot that nitrogen is really affecting. I think we're having trouble with the slides going backwards and forwards here. Go back, please. There we are. These maps are showing levels of nitrogen deposition from the atmosphere. Effectively, what is happening is that the nitrogen coming up from the farming and from combustion sources, traffic, is polluting the atmosphere, affecting air quality, and then coming back down on the forests. We're fertilizing the forests when we didn't mean to. It means all that high biodiversity is being impacted and altered. Species that like nitrogen will grow, but the biodiversity elements that don't will suffer, particularly lichens. So we're studying in the north of the Himalaya, across the Himalayas, these impacts with different colleagues, and also down in the south in Sri Lanka, the Queensberry experiment, which is the world's first for tropical system enrichment experiment for ammonia pollution to see what will happen to these forests. So this is really a groundbreaking science where this has never been done before. When it comes to the water system, a whole range of different modeling systems, going from South Asia on the left through to island situations like in the Sri Lankan situation with the Express Pearl. Everybody knows about that ship sinking. The fire started because of nitric acid, so it was a nitrogen risk that led to that fire. And then the ship contained something like 1,000 tons of urea fertilizer that was just straight into the water. The red line on that tracks where that is coming out of Sri Lanka following those currents, and obviously an opportunity there to compare risks on the coastline, the south side of Sri Lanka with the north side. How much impact has that had? River estuary modeling, there's a huge amount of nitrogen processing happening in river estuaries. And then on the very small scale, take an island like Thodu with very detailed simulations asking the question, how much nitrogen pollution around an individual coral, how does it disperse within the lagoon and beyond, and of course critically leading to the question, to what extent are the coral being impacted by nitrogen pollution as well as by climate change? Coming on to air quality, a whole range of resources, equipment being developed for capacity building across South Asia. On the left-hand side, about measuring of air concentrations, measuring of liquid concentrations, and measuring of nitrogen in rain, air quality across Europe. So this is building a network on the South Asia scale, which has never been existed before. And this is, I think, a key benefit of investments like the UK South Asia Nitrogen Hub, getting all of those countries across the SACEP region working together, sharing, learning together. And one last slide, just to show a map of how does it picture build up across South Asia, how does it compare with other parts of the world? And it's fair to say that South Asia is a nitrogen hotspot. When it comes to ammonia levels, it's the highest on the planet, as can be seen also from satellite data. This is our model estimates, but the satellites show it as well. So it's a major issue for air quality, for climate, for water pollution. One last slide, and that's this one, because this comes to the money. Because if we only talk about cleaning the environment, pollution regulation, sometimes the stakeholders say, leave us alone, we have enough regulation. We want to get on and be profitable in our business. But this is an estimation of the value of the nitrogen wasted. Remember, gas prices have gone up recently, extremely high. That has affected the fertilizer prices, which are now 3 or 4 times what they were before. At those current prices, the left-hand column are the values of the cash value of the nitrogen that's wasted as air pollution and water pollution. And in the middle column, that's the value of total farm support for all agricultural activities on those scales estimated. So essentially, the value of nitrogen being wasted is even bigger than the sum total of agricultural support in many countries. I haven't yet put the number there for South Asia. That's work for us to be doing as we move forward. We look forward to doing that. We look forward to learning from you as we speak together. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sutton. I now invite the South Asian Nitrogen Hub Project Manager at the Maldives National University, Zamila Ahmed, to give an outline of the nitrogen status of the Maldives. Zamila Ahmed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Vice President of the Maldives, Honorable Faisal Nasim, distinguished guests, my colleagues and friends from South Asian Nitrogen Hub, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Tia huriha izzeteri befurunna warabboda marhaba. On behalf of MNU, I would like to welcome you all to the Maldives, the sunny side of life. As highlighted by other speakers this morning, South Asia is a nitrogen pollution hotspot of the world. One contributing factor to this is the large concentration of population in this region. Statistics show that the population of the region is close to 2 billion. Maldives is the smallest country in South Asia in terms of geographical area as well as the population. The population of Maldives is less than 500,000. Our land area is approximately only 300 square kilometers. In comparison to other countries in the region, Maldives is so small, we are just like a dot in the ocean. We are so small and insignificant in land area that we do not appear in some of the maps of the world. With this kind of statistics, one may think that our role in these kinds of global issues may be insignificant. Yet, at a global or a regional level, we may be insignificant in numbers that we represent. However, when we zoom in on the local context and scenario, we now have a clearer picture of our status. The country report that is going to be launched today provides a rapid assessment of our local situation. Results presented in the report show that emissions of all three nitrogen compounds, nitrogen oxide, nitrous oxide, and ammonia, have been increasing over time even in the Maldives, just like in all other South Asian countries. Most importantly, we have been able to identify the key sectors that we need to focus on in terms of nitrogen management in the Maldives. These include the transport sector, energy sector, waste and water management, and the agriculture sector. I would like to take a moment to thank the UKRI and GCRF and the South Asian Regional Nitrogen Hub and SACEP for the opportunity that you have provided MNU to be a partner in this important project. It has provided MNU with an excellent opportunity to liaise with and work closely with esteemed scientists and researchers from prestigious universities and institutions from across the South Asia as well as the UK. We have got the chance for MNU researchers to work closely with highly esteemed researchers on the 4 different research programs that we are implementing in this country. The program in the Maldives encompasses some of the very important activities that we are focusing on in conducting in the Maldives. As all the countries participating in the hub, we are working on work package 1.1, which assisted us to complete and present the country report that we are launching this morning here today. The report provides us with a snapshot of the current status, opportunities, and gaps in relation to nitrogen pollution and management. It includes an analysis of the nitrogen-related policies that we have, and also highlights the opportunities for policy action in order to improve nitrogen management in the country. Under the work package 1.3, our researchers are carrying out village surveys that you saw in Professor Sutton's survey. Slide. There was a picture of the farm from Toddu. So what we are going to do is we are going to survey in 2 islands of the Maldives in order to find out the current practices on the use of nitrogen-based fertilizer and their perceptions, knowledge, and attitudes towards fertilizer use in farming practices. We have completed the survey with 30 farmers in Lamogan Island, and we plan to continue the study with farmers from Toddu. I would like to highlight that MNU intends to institutionalize and sustain the research programs that are being initiated with the project assistance. In this regard, we have plans to finalize an MOU with the Maldives Meteorological Service for air quality and rainwater quality assessments. We are also working with the Malay Water and Sewerage Company to formalize an MOU to mainstream the marine water quality assessment program. This program is going to be part of the work package 3.2 that would look at the effects of nitrogen pollution on coral reef systems. In order to tackle the nitrogen challenge that we are faced with today, we need to inform and engage as many institutions and stakeholders as possible. The massive open online courses on nitrogen has been developed with this ambitious and important target. We look forward to launching and mainstreaming the massive open online courses as best as we could so that we could reach out to as many interest groups and stakeholders as possible. In conclusion, I would like to state that MNU is fully committed to working with the Hub to implement the programs as best as possible. Once again, I would like to extend our gratitude to the Hub for trusting us and providing us the opportunity to be part of this important project. So before concluding my speech, I would like to, on behalf of MNU, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the Deputy Vice Chancellors, would like to thank you all and wish you a pleasant stay here in the Maldives. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Zamila Ahmed. I now respectfully ask the Vice President of the Republic of Maldives, His Excellency Faisal Nasim, to launch the open learning introductory course on nitrogen that will be offered in multiple languages, including Divehi. The Vice President, His Excellency Faisal Nasim.
Nitrogen, an element that has helped human civilization to develop. An element whose misuse now threatens us. Nitrogen is essential to life on Earth. It feeds us. However, human activity has affected the natural nitrogen cycle so that it threatens now air and water quality and contributes to climate change. Have you always thought that nitrogen was a dual element? Think again. Nitrogen presents one of the biggest global challenges for the 21st century. Join us for this journey to the world of this exciting element. Learn about the global nitrogen challenge, how nitrogen came to feed billions, and how its misuse now threatens us. Discover how fundamental nitrogen is to agriculture and food security. Understand the role of nitrogen in air pollution and its impact on human health. Learn how nitrogen can pollute our water and the risks this poses. Examine with us the solutions to the global challenges of nitrogen and how we can better manage this precious element. Your guides on this journey will be experts from the University of Edinburgh, the Centre for Ecology and Hydrology, and the University of Aberdeen. Nitrogen, a global challenge. A world-first massive open online course supported by the Newton Balba Virtual Centre on nitrogen efficiency.
I once again respectfully invite the guest of honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Maldives, His Excellency Faisal Nasim, to launch the South Asian Nitrogen Hub Country Report of the Maldives and to address the gathering. The Vice President, His Excellency Faisal Nasim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chancellor of the Maldives University, Dr. Hassan Hamid, Honorable Ministers, Vice Chancellor, Excellencies, Director of the program, delegates, distinguished guests, staff of Maldives National University, and students. Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to you all. It is my pleasure and privilege to welcome the esteemed delegates from the United Kingdom and all 8 South Asian countries who are here today to attend this important regional meeting of the South Asian Nitrogen Hub in the Maldives. Excellencies, as was highlighted, the United Kingdom Research and Innovation and the Global Challenges Research Fund South Asian Nitrogen Hub project is a partnership that brings together 32 leading research organizations with project partners from the UK and 8 countries in South Asia: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives. I want to acknowledge South Asian Nitrogen Hub's assistance and expert input to overcome this nitrogen challenge that we are facing today. I also highlight the admirable efforts by the Maldives National University in leading this program in the Maldives in collaboration with the stakeholders. Distinguished guests, the pandemic has left us with lots of lessons. It has taught us that we need national, regional, and global solutions to mitigate environmental risk and climate change. As other speakers have highlighted, we cannot talk about development, peace, prosperity, and security without addressing today's environmental challenges. This forum will be an important platform to deliberate on these issues from an academic, research-based perspective. Therefore, I would like to commend the South Asian Nitrogen Hub project leads, and the participating institutions for your dedication and commitment in initiating this project and prioritizing the issue of tackling the nitrogen challenge and managing nitrogen in South Asian region. It strongly indicates that your dedication and love for the environment and to collaboratively work towards a healthier planet. Ladies and gentlemen, Maldives is not only unique for its white sandy beaches, coral reef lagoons, and low-lying islands, but it is very much unique in terms of its geography and fragile environment. Maldives is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. All aspects of the environment, including water, land, and air, are under pressure and adversely impacted and declining. The negative impact on the environment has continuously threatened the country's economy, industries, businesses, and every individual. It also affects the health and well-being of our communities. We have witnessed today the launch of the Maldives Country Report, which provides a comprehensive overview of the nitrogen status in the country and outlines the steps to take to manage nitrogen effectively. The report highlights priority sectors to be addressed. This includes transport, energy, waste management, water management, and agriculture. Going forward, it would be essential to specify nitrogen emission reduction targets in policy instruments and sector plans, and to ensure the effective implementation of these plans in this endeavor for a healthier planet. I acknowledge the sustainable nitrogen management requires further assessment of the status. It also requires targeted strategic actions at the national and local levels in collaboration and cooperation between institutions, businesses, and communities. The massive open learning introductory course on nitrogen launched today will provide an avenue for all stakeholders in the Maldives and to become aware of the nitrogen challenges here in the Maldives. Excellencies, South Asia is home to more than 2 billion people, and the population is expected to double by 2050. Similarly, fertilizer inputs have been projected to double to give South Asia the highest nitrogen inputs in the world by 2050. Added to this are food security, environmental and developmental challenges. Given the scale and outlook, South Asia must prioritize addressing the global nitrogen challenge. Hence, it is very timely that 32 institutions in South Asia are working collaboratively with UKRI GCRF to address the nitrogen challenge through research, debates, discussions, and sharing information among the institutions and to the policymakers of all South Asian countries globally. Distinguished delegates, I want to reiterate the Maldives' commitment to the global environmental agenda and to collaborate with the South Asian Nitrogen Hub to develop informed policies on nitrogen management in the Maldives. I believe that the South Asian Nitrogen Hub is the start of this new momentum in our efforts to tackle the nitrogen challenges in our region. I wish you all a fruitful meeting and enjoyable stay here in this beautiful country. Thank you and wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Vice President. I now request the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dr. Aisha Ahmed, to give the closing remarks. Dr. Aisha Ahmed.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Guest of honor, Vice President of the Republic of Maldives, His Excellency Faisal Naseem, Chancellor, Vice Chancellor of the Maldives National University, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, SACEP Director General, Director of South Asian Nitrogen Hub, distinguished delegates, invitees, staff and students of MNU, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to say a few words at the opening ceremony of South Asian Nitrogen Hub full meeting. Allow me also to extend a very warm welcome to all the international delegates to this event and to the Maldives. It is a great pleasure and a privilege for the Maldives National University to host the South Asian Nitrogen Hub full meeting representing prestigious and renowned scholars, researchers, and scientists from the 32 institutions of United Kingdom and 8 SAARC countries. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to have the Honorable Vice President of the Maldives, His Excellency Faisal Naseem, as the guest of honor, gracing us with his presence in this occasion to support us in our pursuit to create a culture of research excellence and international collaboration at MNU. Thank you, Honorable Vice President, for taking time off from your busy schedule to grace this occasion and for expressing the strong commitment of the Government of Maldives to collaborate with the South Asian Nitrogen Hub to develop informed policies on nitrogen management in the Maldives. It has indeed encouraged and inspired us in our quest to overcome the nitrogen challenge in the South Asian region. Thank you, Vice President. Excellencies, distinguished invitees, as we have heard from other speakers, South Asian Nitrogen Hub aims to collaboratively work together with leading research institutions in UK and South Asia to tackle the nitrogen challenge. At this juncture, on behalf of the Maldives National University, management, staff, and students, I would like to thank the Director General of SACEP and SACEP institutions, and the Director of SANH and the SANH leads, and all the participating institutes for trusting MNU and giving us the opportunity to participate in an international project of this caliber, and for giving us the opportunity to learn from the expertise and experiences of the esteemed scholars. Allow me also to thank the organizing committee of the South Asian Nitrogen Hub project for their support and assistance to MNU task force. I would like to especially thank the MNU task force, marketing team, IT, facilities, procurement, and the research development office team of MNU for their commitment, dedication, and sincere efforts in organizing this event exceptionally well. Distinguished delegates, we value and appreciate your presence with us and look forward to your insights and to learn from your knowledge, expertise, and experiences. We wish you a rewarding and a successful meeting and a comfortable stay in the Maldives, and hope you will be able to enjoy and experience the sunny side of life. In Dalai Lama's words, we hope we can individually and collectively work to preserve and tend to the world in which we all live in to make it healthier, wealthier, and happier. Thank you, and wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Deputy Vice-Chancellor. This brings us to the close of the event. I am delighted to announce that refreshments will be served outside. The keynote session of the full meeting will begin at 10:30 here in the auditorium. Thank you all for your presence, and I wish you all a successful time in the Maldives. We will now close this event with the national anthem of the Republic of Maldives. Wassalamu alaikum.
Salam.